Orc invasions didn't reach the city centers protected by the gods, but outer villages and unprotected regions were disappearing from the map one by one. People resorted to magic because their weapons were inadequate, but there wasn't that many sorcerers who were strong enough to defend a city on their own from the relentless horde. When the horde reached Europe, elves quickly realized the catastrophic consequences of fighting against them. Elves could defeat the horde on their own, but in the process, casualties would drag them into a slow extinction afterwards. Moon elves offered help to humans. They sent warlocks to protect human settlements while they worked together on a solution. They sent food and rain and other goods. In other political matters, they took sides with the humans. Human rulers got blinded with their generosity, and in the end, they were dependent on it. Elves manipulated human rulers to remove every man who was smart or wise enough to realize what they were actually doing, and only after that, they started work on their real project. They have enchanted an otherworldly parasite so that it enters the blood and reaches the heart of the human. After that, it would start to eat the heart while replacing it simultaneously. When the first stage of replacement is done, parasite would enchant the blood with magic while also rising up the oxygen levels. With the rising oxygen levels, human test subjects started to lose their consciousness while also exhibiting signs of aggression. These symptoms, when combined with the powers granted by the enchanted blood, gave humans the weapon they were searching for to destroy the orcs, and gave elves the weapon they were searching for to destroy the humans. Vampires spent years fighting with the orcs, while the parasite quietly adapting to their new form. Then, their true nature manifested. The magic coursing through their veins started to burn them from inside. They realized that they needed blood transfusions, and they realized that they already had a system built into their new body. Vampires had a system built into their physiology that allowed them to regurgitate magical blood directly, and it could also be used for extracting other people's blood into their own circulation. Vampires grow increasingly powerful until they replenish their magic-infused blood. However, there is a price to pay. As their power grows, so does their pain, and the parasite gains greater control over their bodies. The moment when they are at their weakest is immediately after a blood transfusion. At this point, they are not much different from an ordinary person. By the nature of their otherworldly magic, the parasite is sensitive to light and dies in daylight. This is why vampires also hate daylight, and when exposed to it, the magic in their veins might turn them into ash. Vampires produce two different parasites to infect others. One is identical to the parasite that affects them, can usually only be transmitted to humans, and turns the person they infect into a vampire. The other is the familiar parasite, which can be transmitted to different species. This parasite binds the host to a hive mind controlled by the main vampire parasite. Vampires' reproductive organs gradually lose their function. Aware of this, some vampires exhibit excessive sexual behavior during the initial period following their transformation. Although vampires retain free will and make their own decisions in daily life, the parasite's influence over them is undeniable. The parasite's weaknesses become the vampire's weaknesses. The parasite has various fears and vulnerabilities, ranging from running water to garlic. They use the burning sensation to drive away their hosts from interacting with these things. As long as the parasite is alive, the vampire can survive even situations that seem impossible. But if the parasite dies, it is almost impossible to save the vampire.